Hello, my name is Dennis Donovan, and I'll be talking to you about the U.S. India-Pacific Command, specifically developing partnerships in the Indian Ocean. So this is the region that the U.S. India-Pacific Command covers. It's a pretty massive area of responsibility, and within this region are both of the world's most populous countries, China and India, both at over 1 billion people. 60% of the world's gross domestic product comes from this region, and 60% of the world's maritime trade travels through it. It is the Department of Defense's priority theater. Our specific target area will be expanding partnerships in the Indian Ocean. Before 2018, U.S.-India PACOM was just PACOM, Pacific Command. 2018, it was renamed Indo-PACOM. This demonstrates the importance of the Indian Ocean as a region and highlights the importance of India as a strategic defense partner. However, the strategic report lacked a specific plan to build better relationships with different states in the Indian Ocean region. This presentation will offer a potential course of action that will effectively solve this problem. Bryson's 10-step planning process was used to formulate this course of action. This was decided on due to its ability to effectively formulate a course of action in a short period of time. The first two steps in the Bryson's 10-step strategic planning process, the first one was just covered, and the second one was effectively covered in the strategic report. The last three steps of the Bryson strategic planning process are very much dependent on the strategic report and how it is implemented across the entire combatant command. Step 10 is especially dependent upon its implementation. Therefore, this presentation will focus on steps 3 through 7, but the others may be mentioned. To clarify the organizational mandates, the strategic report identifies these principles as the American vision for the Indo-Pacific region: respect for sovereignty and independence of all nations, peaceful resolution of disputes, free, fair, and reciprocal trade based on open investment, transparent agreements, and connectivity, and the adherence to international rules and norms, including those of freedom of navigation and overflight. These principles will guide what course of actions can be developed. Next, we need to identify our stakeholders and understand our mission values. The U.S. Indo-PACOM strategic report mirrors the current national security strategy. The only difference between these two documents is that the strategic report goes into much further detail for the Indo-Pacific region than the national security strategy does. Any course of action developed will follow from the 4 pillars given within the national security strategy. These are: protect the American people, the homeland and the American way of life, promote American prosperity, and preserve peace through strength, and advance American influence. Of the regional stakeholders, India by far has the most importance and the most influence within the region. U.S. Indo-PACOM has every branch in the military within it and can use them all to effect better partnerships in the Indian Ocean. By identifying strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges or threats, we can understand both the internal and external environment which the organization finds itself. This environmental analysis, sometimes called SWOT analysis, enables us to develop courses of action which meet the situations U.S. Indo-PACOM finds itself in. The strengths of Indo-PACOM are its importance in the American decision-making tree, its vast amount of resources and assets, including 370,000 military personnel, and the military-industrial might of America behind it. The weaknesses, however, are due to years of deficit spending and new priorities within the government, the DoD may be defunded to some extent. The U.S. military has very important responsibilities in other regions of the world, as we saw in the past few weeks in the Ukrainian-Russian border situation, and a very polarized political landscape in America, which leads to sweeping foreign policy changes with every new administration. Opportunities and threats are external factors that will affect our decision making. We exploit opportunities and balance our course of action against the threats so that they do not have as much of an impact against us. The opportunities identified here are that India is a rapidly developing country, both economically and militarily, and has mutually chosen the United States to be one of its closest allies. The might of the U.S. military and technological advance means that most regional powers are very interested in acquiring U.S. military technology and equipment. And there is a strong history of multinational military exercises in the region and joint operations responding to natural disasters. The threats we have identified are China's growing influence in the region, distrust of U.S. foreign policy because it frequently changes, and various transnational issues ranging from terrorism to natural disasters. Piracy is also a growing threat in this region, and organized crime, from drug smuggling to human trafficking, has long been a problem in the Indo-Pacific region. The next step of the process is identifying the criteria which are most important in determining the course of actions we develop, and specifically the one we end up choosing. The two most criteria are the involvement with the Indian military and countering Chinese aggression. India is quickly becoming America's most effective ally in countering China as it continues to advance at extreme paces. India's importance was made official in 2016 when it was named a major defense partner. No other country is named a major defense partner, and that elevated it to the status of our closest allies like Great Britain or Australia, where we frequently share military equipment and technology with. Other criteria are low cost and promoting the rule of law. However, cost is not a huge issue for the United States military, and the Indian Ocean specifically does not have significant issues with the rule of law like the South China Sea does. When we combine strengths and weaknesses, or strengths and opportunities and threats, and weaknesses with opportunities and threats, we can begin to build courses of action that will effectively meet the situational environment U.S. Indo-PACOM occupies. This process leaves us with 4 courses of action: investing in India's military engagement in key regional issues alongside partner states, profitable foreign military sales, and involving Chinese military forces in operations that increase security within the region. However, when we then use the criteria already identified and a Pew matrix like this, we can find a clear winner. Investing in India's military will most effectively and completely meet the goal identified at the beginning of this presentation, which was expanding partnerships within the Indian Ocean. As we review our course of action determined on, we see that it will involve foreign military sales of technology and equipment to India, joint military exercises, operations, and training with Indian armed forces. And then we can identify benefits that will have to the American position in the region by strengthening our population with the second largest population in the world. This is an obvious benefit. Increasing compatibility with weapon systems and decreasing logistical problems associated with deploying troops to the region. And finally, it will counter Chinese aggression by establishing a massive and much more modern military in the Indian Ocean, right next door to China. To build more effective partnerships in the Indian Ocean, U.S. Indo-PACOM, along with the larger U.S. foreign policy, should emphasize investing in the Indian military. Doing this will not only improve our partnership with India, but India, as the dominant state within the region, will bring the smaller states closer to the United States. Any questions?